So it might not look like I've done a lot since last time, but a lot of the stuff I've been doing is on the back end. I've been moving over to C++. At the moment, for like my movement and the paint kind of aspect, I've been doing it all in Blueprints because it's a lot quicker to kind of iterate on that. But for the interaction system, I've been like doing a lot of that in C++. I've also been moving a few bits of like how I deal with like data between the animator and the player movement. I've also been putting that into C++ because I find if you're making structs and enums, it's really hard to move them over later on. So it's kind of better to put it into C++ early and then implement all the blueprint stuff how you want. And then when you want to move over to C++, then, you know, you can do that a lot easier. So yeah, a lot of the stuff in the back end, so it's kind of how we deal with assets, how we deal with data tables and all this kind of stuff. I've been kind of setting up some helpers and utilities to help with that kind of stuff. But we have got some stuff to show off, so I'll show that. So as you can see, I've got a big green box in front of us at the moment. This is part of the interaction system. So the interaction system at the moment is quite bare bones. It only detects one item. So if you've got like a pile of items on the floor, it will just pick the first one that it kind of detects like within the range. It's like a box that's shooting out from you. So say if you've got two like this, two items, it will detect the one that's closest to you. As you can see, there's like a little green dot to tell you which one it's picking. As time goes on, I'll introduce like the ability to detect multiple ones and to scroll through the list. So this works quite simply. I've got two chairs set up here to kind of show how they work. This is what you call an interactive object, and then you just press a button, which is the interact key, and then it will detect. And then with this one, it just says in the top left, this is a chair. The interact objects also extend to these pickup items. So you've got like interact objects and then pickup objects derived from them. So they have all the functionality of interact objects, but then they've also got the extra bit for the whole pickup system. These kind of go through the same kind of system. As time goes on, I'll expand it as well, because at the moment, the way it's set up, you'll be able to interact with it through the wall. But I need to set up like some checks to go, okay, this is behind a wall, there's like a wall blocking you and whatever. And then all like some other checks that I'll kind of work out as time goes on. But what I have set up with this chair is we've got this kind of interact animation aspect of it. So if I press E, I'll do this little button press. And then you'll notice as it presses the button, then it will say this is a chair rather than saying straight away. The other thing with this is if you press the button and try to hold movement, I can't move until a certain position in the animation which is set up with a notify. It has the ability to set whatever animation you want. So you'll see this with the weapons. So when we pick up this weapon, it attaches to the hand, and then we can kind of walk around with the weapon in our hand. So you'll notice there's no animations for the gun at the moment, and that's because, well, I didn't know this until I started actually running it as a game as opposed to in the editor. So I've got a whole kind of asset loading system in the background. So it all go, okay, there's an asset here that is a soft reference, meaning it's not like properly loaded into memory yet. Then we're going to load it in asynchronously into the memory when we need to use it. So these weapons have like information to do with animations for the character, but they're like not in memory until we pick up the weapon, and then it goes, okay, now load these things into memory. And the problem that I've got at the moment, which I didn't realize until I started recording, was it's loading it into memory but then not applying it because it's still loading it into memory. So I need to work out why it's not doing that, because what you'll find is if I press G here, we can drop this item and it drops down with physics and everything, and then I can pick it back up, and for some reason it's not worked again. Okay, now it's worked. So I have no idea why it's not doing that. So that's something I need to look into. It might have not worked the second time just because it actually garbage collected it. So it was loaded into memory, wasn't assigned, and then the garbage collection got rid of it. So I need to work that out. So now we've got these animations. If I press G, you'll notice another little bug we've got here. We'll go into a T-pose for a moment. So I need to solve that. but that's basically because it's switching between the rifle animations. It's loaded out of memory again. The rifle animations, it's switching between the rifle animations and the normal character animations. There's also a few other bugs with this, because at the moment there's kind of an upper body and lower body kind of divide, and if I dive, we kind of still have this weird business going on. So this is all stuff that I need to set up. I didn't have all the animations for a lot of these things. You'll notice with like the gun move animations are a bit weird. I want them to kind of hold the gun down like this, but this is all I had at hand. So it looks a bit funky. But again, they're all placeholders. I had to make a few of my own, and I'll talk about those when we pick up the pistol over here, which again won't work straight away. We'll drop it back down and pick it back up, and it'll go into the animations eventually. There we go. The pistol animations look stiff because I've basically just made a static pose and for the upper half of the body to kind of get us some kind of idea of what we're doing here with the guns. But this kind of shows that we've got different animations for each weapon. Now, the other aspect of this is when we aim, we go into an aiming animation, and we've also got aiming offset, so we can look up and down, and it will kind of change based on that. So the arm looks a bit funky again because this is just stuff that I've thrown together. I've made a lot of the offsets myself. Just kind of static poses, put them together quickly in the in Blender and just chucked them in. And again, this has the same issue. Well, actually this issue here is different. This is to do with a desync with like the upper body and lower body. It looks really weird, and sometimes you can desync it more depending on what you're doing. See, now it's kind of in line. But these are all things because I've just set it up temporary to kind of get the general gist, because a lot of my time has gone into getting the back end working. So the rifle's the same. We've got an aiming animation up and down, so that's all gravy. So this is actually using like a layered animation system. So it will have like two separate BPs, and one will like kind of load over the top. So it will maintain a lot of the original animations, but also have like some extra animations that can kind of get loaded in over the top. And with the whole pickup animation, it's the same. Like, you can't move until a certain point. So it works similar to how these interacts here work, where you just lock in place until the animation's complete. So aside from that, I've also got like a data table loader, which is I set up originally for the animations. I was going to have all the animations in like a struct, and then it would kind of load them into the into the animation blueprint, and then like I'd basically have to set all the separate animations for each weapon or whatever. When I discovered this layered animation system that allowed me to just go, oh, I can just make like a blueprint with all the stuff in it, and then that gets loaded in and out of memory. So that kind of, it meant I didn't need the data table loader anymore, but I will need the data table loader in the future anyway for loading in like weapons or I don't know, enemies or whatever it is that I'm going to load in. So that concludes this week's update. If you want to see next week's update right now, chances are it's on the Patreon already, so go over and view that, or it might be over tomorrow or whenever, I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know when this one's coming out. It's coming out in like a month's time. If you're a subscriber to the Patreon, then you'll get it 2 weeks before YouTube. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing a video a week or not, because there's going to be a point where I want to work on some visual stuff, and I'm not going to put any of that on YouTube until it's finished. But there will be posts with that kind of stuff for people that pay on the Patreon, and then there'll be some free updates for just people that follow me on Patreon as well. So if you like the video, leave a like, leave a comment, and if you want to do none of that, would you kindly bugger off?